Hi, so I wanted to look at some currency conversion questions. Hopefully you've had a go at the value for money questions and recipe questions by Setfio on Hegarty Maths. There's a specific way that I like to set out these currency conversion questions. Actually, the recipe questions you can set out in the same way as this. So if you struggled with those after this lesson, you might want to go back and try that again using the same sort of setup. But I find that the way that I set these out really helped me to avoid mistakes or getting confused about which calculation to do when. So I'm just going to go through a few examples, then there's some questions that I've uploaded to the Google Classroom that you can try on those as well. Okay, so here we've got £1 is equal to $1.25. That is what we would call the exchange rate. So the exchange rate is whenever we change from one currency into another, what one currency is worth in another. So £1 is worth the same amount of money as $1.25. And it's asking us how much of the following amounts in dollars. Now, the converting currencies in this direction is actually quite straightforward, and you might think with what I'm drawing here, well, you don't need to do all that. All you need to do is multiply this by that number. But there's a reason why I'm doing it, and it's because when we come to questions going the other way, it actually helps us to already have a system of how we set these out. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to do A first, get £5, and draw 4 boxes. Okay, and my first row is to say that £1 is the same as $1.25. Okay, and I'm going to draw arrows between all these boxes. And I want to find out how much £5 is. So instead of having £1 here, I want £5. Okay, and I want to find out how much that is in dollars. So I want to find out the amount in this box down here. So £1 to get to 1.25, I'd multiply that by 1.25. So I can put the same multiplication down here. Or to get from £1 to £5, I'd multiply by 5. So I could multiply by 5 there as well. And now I've actually got two ways to get to this bottom number. I can take this 125, multiply it by 5, or 1.25, multiply it by 5, or I can take this 5 and multiply it by 1.25. Of course, those are the same thing. It's the same multiplication, just with the numbers in the opposite order, due to commutativity of multiplication, meaning that whichever way around we put things when we're multiplying, we get the same answer. So let's do that on my calculator. 1.25 times 5 gives me, well, it says 25 over 4, so I'm going to press this SD button to change it into a decimal, and now it's telling me it's 6.25. So it's $6.25. Okay, and that would be my answer for A. If I try and do the same thing for B, so again, I'm going to draw my box out. I'm still using the same exchange rate. So £1 is equal to $1.25. And this time I want to find out how much £16 is. So let's draw my arrows in. Okay, and maybe pause the video, think about where you think the arrow should go, see if you can work out what this bottom number is, what our amount in dollars for £16 is. Okay, so £1 multiplied by, or 1 times 1.25 gives us 1.25, so we still have 1.25 going across there. So I could get this bottom number by doing 16 times 1.25, which gives me 20. So it's $20. Okay, I could have also done that multiplying down. So 1 times what is 16? Well, times 16. 1.25 times 16 would have also given me 20. Okay, and it's exactly the same idea here. Even if our numbers are a little bit harder to work with. So I'm still using my exchange rate of £1 being $1.25. Now I want £18.73. So to get down there, I'd multiply by 18.73. So to get down here, I'd do exactly the same thing. Okay, 1.25 times 18.73. Change it into a decimal. And of course, because it's an amount of money, I don't want all these 4 decimal places here. So this says 23.4125. Okay, I want instead 21.2 decimal places, so 41. So it would be $21.41. Okay, again, I could have done this moving across. So 1 times 1.25 is 1.25. So I could have done 18.73 times 1.25. Okay, let's try a couple of questions going the opposite way. So this is going to follow exactly the same idea. Okay, except now I'm changing an amount from dollars into pounds. Just so that we can see how this is changing, I've kept the exchange rate the same, although obviously that would change in most questions. So I've got my exchange rate of £1 to $1.25. I want to find out what $5 is in pounds. So you can see this time, instead of writing my amount underneath the pounds, I've written it underneath the dollars because I want $5, so it needs to go on the same side. It might be harder now this time to see how do I multiply down here? How do I get from 1.25 to 5? So if I can't see that number, that's where having this grid really helps, because I can still see that actually to get across here, I'm multiplying by 1.25. So to get across here, I would multiply by 1.25 as well. So one of these calculations will always be quite easy, quite straightforward to see. Now, some of you might be thinking, well, that doesn't help me with this. I wanted to find this bottom left number. And all I've done is worked out how to go from this side to this side. I want to go back the other way. Well, how would I do that? So if going from here to here, I'm multiplying by 1.25. To go from here to here, I'd divide by 1.25. Okay, because division is the opposite of multiplication. So let's get my calculator. 5 divided by 1.25 gives me 4. Okay, so in $5 is equivalent to £4. Okay, and I can actually see what these numbers going down would be now. That would be multiplying by 4, so that should be multiplying by 4 as well. If I wanted to double check that, 1.25 times 4 is 5. That all agrees, so that makes me super confident that I'm right on this question. Let's try it with our second example. So using the same exchange rate again, £1 is $1.25. So that's the exchange rate we're given up here. Okay. I'm going to draw my arrows in. So I know to get from £1, I multiply by 1.25. I want $16, so that needs to go underneath the dollars part. So I know to multiply across there is 1.25 because it has to be the same as at the top. So to go the other way, I'm dividing by 1.25. 16 divided by 1.25 is £12.80. I give it to 2 decimal places because it's an amount of money. So even though it said 12.8 there, I'm going to write £12.80 because we always give amounts in pounds or in dollars to 2 decimal places, or in euros for that matter. If I wanted to double check that, then I can see how do I get from 1 to 12.80. I multiply by 12.8. Is that what happened over here? Let's check. 1.25 times 12.8. We're expecting 16 as our answer, and we get the answer 16. Okay, final example. again, same exchange rate. £1 is $1.25. Let's draw my arrows on. Okay, I want $18.73. You can see here, actually figuring out what this multiplication is would be a real nightmare. It looks like it would be a really difficult number to be multiplying by. But I can see that multiplying across, I multiply by 1.25 still. So to go back the other way, I divide by 1.25. So 18.73 divided by 1.25 gives me £14 and 98 pence. It does say 984, but I'm rounding to 2 decimal places. So I've got 1 times 14.98 going down. Okay, so to do my check, 1.25 times 14.98 is 18.725, which would round to 18.73. Okay, why didn't I get the exact same answer here? Can you spot why? It's because I rounded this amount here. So that wasn't an exact answer, remember we rounded that to 2 decimal places. Okay, I've just got 2 more examples to show you, which is sort of putting this into practice with, 2 more examples. I'm putting this into practice with some worded questions. On these, feel free to pause the video, check whether you get the same answers, and then hopefully you can check the questions, have a go at the questions that I've uploaded to go with this, and let me know how you get on with those. So in this question, we've got Marcel changed £200 into euros at an exchange rate of £1 is €1.15. He spent 150 euros and then exchanged the money back into pounds. How much did he end up with? This is typically what your exam questions can look like. They put more information in, so it seems more confusing, and it's about breaking it up into individual steps. So let's have a look at this one step at a time. First step, Marcel changed £200 into euros at an exchange rate of £1 to €1.15. So, okay, that pen is not going to work for this. Let's keep trying different colours. Hopefully we'll get one that holds out for long enough. Nope, maybe not. Okay, this one we'll have to do. So we've got £1. £1 is €1.15. That's my exchange rate. And how much did he exchange? £200. Let's draw my arrows on. So I've put £200 here. It has to go on the pound side. And I can see quite clearly 1 times 200 is 200. So I want to multiply by 200 going down there. So 1.15 times 200 is 230. So he got 230 euros. Okay, I could also have multiplied across by 1.15 and done 200 times 1.15, would have got 230 euros. We've done that first part, right? We know he got 230 euros. He spent 150 euros. So he has 230 euros. If he spent 150, that means we're taking that away because he doesn't have that anymore. He spent it. How much does he have left? 80 euros. Okay, so he's exchanged the money he's got. He's got 80 euros left back into pounds. So I want to do another exchange rate. Each time I'm doing an exchange from one currency into another, I'm drawing these sets of boxes. So now I've got £1 is €1.15, still the same exchange rate, but this time I'm not changing my £200. I've exchanged that into euros. I've spent some of those euros. Now I'm exchanging this 80 euros back, so it can't go in this box because that is the column for pounds. It has to go here. So I've got 80 euros. Can I work out how to get down there? It doesn't look easy to do, so I'm going to use this method going across. 1 times 1.15 is 1.15. I don't want to go from the left to the right. I want to go the other way, so I have to do the inverse of multiplying by 1.15. I have to divide by 1.15. 80 divided by 1.15 is going to give me this answer that I've got here, which is 69.565. So if I round to 2 decimal places, that 5 is in my 3rd decimal place, I'm going to round up and get 69.57. Okay, so how much did he end up with? Well, he's ended up with £69.57. Okay, so you can see quite a bit extra in there, quite a bit more work, but each step no harder than what we've done before. We converted an amount from pounds to euros, we had a calculation to do in euros, nice simple subtraction, and then we had a calculation to do back. Okay, the last type of question that I want to look at is one that is also quite popular in exams, where they're asking you to compare the costs of things from one currency to another. So here I've got some prices I tried to find on the Nintendo Switch. So it costs £280 from Amazon UK and €330 from Amazon France. And I want to find out, where is it cheaper? Is it cheaper to get it from Amazon UK or to get it from Amazon France? And we've got our exchange rate here. There's 2 ways of doing this. We can either convert the amount from pounds to euros, or we can convert the amount from euros to pounds and compare them. I'm going to try and do both here just so we can see the difference between the two. Sometimes in questions you might have 3 amounts, so you need to get it to a sort of a common currency, so there's a bit more thought that needs going into it. Well, let's start off with the UK amount. It's always as well to label these as well, what we're doing. So my exchange rate is 1 to 1.15 in both cases. So to get across, we multiply by 1.15. In the UK, it costs £280. So let's see how many euros that is. Okay, to move across, we've already written that. That's 1.15. So I've got 280 times 1.15 is 322 euros. Okay, and I could have done that by multiplying down by 280 as well, because 1 times 280 is 280. So it costs 322 euros from Amazon UK. When I convert that amount into euros, well, that is less than how much it is from Amazon France. So I would say it is cheaper. How much is it cheaper by? 330 euros to 322. That's a difference of 8 euros. So it's cheaper by 8 euros in the UK. Okay, I'm very quickly going to go through doing that the other way around. So if I wanted to convert it from France instead, we'd still have our boxes that we draw. We've got £1 is equivalent to €1.15. So to go across, I'm multiplying by 1.15. This time we've got 330 euros from Amazon France, and I want to find out how much that is in pounds. So to go backwards from right to the left, to go from left to right, I'm multiplying by 1.15. So I need to do the inverse to go from right to left. I need to divide by 1.15. So we've got 330 divided by 1.15. Gives me a bit of an awkward number, but £286.96 if I round that off. So £286.96. Okay, it costs £280 from Amazon UK, so it is more expensive in France because 286.96 is bigger than 280, and it's more expensive by £6.96. We'd always be expected in these questions, oh sorry, I didn't realize you couldn't quite see that. We'd always be expected in these questions to write down our final statement. So where is it cheaper? It's not enough just to do the working out. We have to write that sentence at the end. It is cheaper, or it is more expensive, or this place is better value for money. to make sure it's clear in our answer. And if we can justify it by giving the amounts it's cheaper by, all the better. Okay, hopefully that was quite clear. Do let me know if you've got any questions. Have a go at the questions that I've uploaded and let me know how you get on.